Norma and Dan, this story started with pictures like this. Fire hydrants covered up, hard to locate, or disguised in the brush. Scenes like this got us wondering, how often are these hydrants inspected? And more importantly, in the event of a major fire, will they work?
Lessons learned and lessons lost.
It is concerning.
Oakland Hills resident Doug Mosier doesn't want to live through another mistake.
To have that water supply is crucial to be able to fight a fire.
One of the most important lessons learned from the 1991 Oakland firestorm is access. 31 years ago, Oakland's fire hydrants were different than most across the state. This limited the help surrounding agencies could provide because they didn't have the adapters necessary to access the water supply. That problem was fixed in 1994. But 28 years later, residents are now left with a different question. Are these hydrants even working?
We'd like to know.
The East Bay Municipal Utility District, or East Bay MUD, told the I-Team they're responsible for maintaining more than 31,000 public fire hydrants across Alameda and Contra Costa counties. The ABC 7 News I-Team discovered only a fraction are regularly inspected. A fraction as in 2.5%. That's 800 hydrants per year.
I don't think they took the issue seriously. Perhaps maybe they didn't take me seriously.
It's one of many reasons former Oakland Hills resident Nick Vigilante moved out of California after 22 years. In September 2020, he asked East Bay MUD if hydrants are routinely inspected.
Maybe you should take this seriously.
The agency told him, "We do not have a proactive program in place right now to inspect and repair hydrants. We are launching a preventative maintenance program in October." The next month, that didn't happen. Public records obtained by the I-Team show after repeated requests from residents, the fire preventative maintenance program eventually launched a year later in October of 2021.
Our goal is to inspect 800 fire hydrants every year.
Is inspecting these hydrants a priority in high fire severity zones?
Yes, certainly. But high fire severity zones are a priority for us.
But the data seems to tell a different story. There are more than 32,000 public fire hydrants in the city of Oakland.
The I-Team filed public records requests to see the total number of hydrant inspections conducted by East Bay MUD in areas with the highest fire risk in the Oakland Hills, an area identified by CAL FIRE as a high fire hazard severity zone. This included 46 roads that burned in the Oakland firestorm in 1991.
After waiting nearly 3 months for the documents, the I-Team found only 17 inspections in these areas.
Darn it, I wish they would just do the job. It shouldn't be that hard.
Neighbor Tom Grossman is tired of taking pictures like this, showing hydrants that look to be deteriorating. According to East Bay MUD's Fire Hydrant Preventative Maintenance Program Plan, the hydrant should be visible from all approaches. There should be no brush, tree limbs, structures, or soil that could interfere with anyone accessing, connecting hoses, or operating the hydrant. But if you ask Grossman, dozens of neighbors complain that's not the reality on the roads. How many have you seen like this?
In the past 2 weeks, I've seen 2, just riding my bike around. I'm not even looking.
So we did, and within 10 minutes, we found several hydrants like this, covered up, hard to access, and some missing the blue street markers that are placed on the road to help fire crews identify hydrant locations.
This is the hydrant.
We met with Oakland Fire Chief Heather Mosdeen to show her some of these pictures, but she told us it's not a big issue.
We very rarely run into a hydrant that we think is working and doesn't work. It's very rare.
Yet according to ABC 7's analysis of thousands of repair records, there were at least 78 leaking issues involving hydrants from 2019 through June of this year. The majority reported in Oakland. A handful of those leaks were due to hydrants crashed into. At least 83 hydrants were hit, mainly by vehicles like police cars and delivery trucks. More than a dozen of those hydrants were hit in high fire risk areas and had damage that took more than a month to repair and replace. In another case, this hydrant in Castro Valley, a block from Eden Medical Center, took more than 6 months to repair.
They tend to be overlooked often. People drive by hydrants and don't really pay them too much attention.
So who will pay attention? We brought the issue back to the 2 agencies directly involved. East Bay Mud, and the Oakland Fire Department.
Vegetation management inspections.
Chief Mosdeen explains the department conducts residential vegetation management inspections to ensure homeowners are reducing their wildfire risk. Do those teams also check the status of the hydrants?
It's not part of the residential vegetation management inspection, does not include fire hydrants.
Wouldn't it make sense to have that be a part of it?
And as I said before, East Bay Mud, the hydrants are East Bay Muds. We just get to use them.
So we shared these photos with East Bay Mud spokesperson Nelsie Rodriguez.
Would this concern you?
I can't say, because it could be that you're accessing the water from here or there. I don't know what who owns this property.
East Bay Mud told the I-Team the hydrants the agency oversees are painted white. Some may be red to indicate lower water pressure. We shared these photos of white hydrants with Rodriguez.
Some of them are covered or they have brush around them. They're not as visible. So
I can't say if that's a problem or not.
this is what it looks like around it. If that's okay or if that's not okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't tell you whether that's okay or not.
But the requirements in the California State Fire Code can. The code is explicitly clear. It states the fire department shall not be deterred or hindered from gaining immediate access to fire hydrants, and that access shall be maintained at all times. Plus, 3 feet of clear space shall be maintained around the circumference of fire hydrants.
Ultimately, it should be clear around. I mean, ideally, it should be clear around it.
Well, it's difficult to say. Some people, they plant their plants around it.
We don't maintain hydrants. They're East Bay Mud.
And somehow the fire department says it's not their problem. They're all playing, point the finger, pass the buck. Eventually, there's going to be a fire engine that rolls up and they can't get water. Really, government should be more effective than this.
Now, Deputy Chief Mosdeen told us there used to be an agreement between East Bay Mud, Public Works, and the fire department identifying a plan for maintaining fire hydrants across the city and county. She says the fire department even used to have a crew that was solely focused on checking these hydrants. But with budget cuts and a staffing shortage, they don't have the resources anymore.
Well, this is really interesting, Stephanie. 2 quick questions. What happens now first, and who is ultimately responsible here?
Yeah, Dan, that's what we're looking into now. Following our story, Oakland City leaders are discussing how hydrant inspections can be prioritized and whether or not a formal agreement between the 2 agencies is necessary to ensure that happens.
Okay. Keep us posted, Stephanie. Thank you. Check out our Emmy Award-nominated documentary, Firestorm.